Hi there, I'm Ben Browne, an intern journalist for CanadaFootballChat.com, and I'm joined now by Barrie Central Phoenix cornerback Beth Munroe. And Beth, it's great to be with you. Looks like you've got a sling on your arm here, so can you just sort of tell us what happened and kind of how?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what happened, because it was during the game. I think it was the second part. I broke my growth plates, the bone here and here, I don't know what they're called. I did tissue damage to my wrist, my arm, my shoulder, sprained my shoulder during the game at Barrie North, or playing Barrie North, but you know, yeah.
Yeah, sort of a really fluky, unfortunate incident. I remember you telling me that you didn't even know that it happened until afterwards. Yeah, so you kind of toughed it out there for a whole half with a broken wrist in 2 places and 9 other injuries to your arm. But anyway, let's shift focus to the more important things and the reason why we're here. Obviously, you're a girl, and you're the only girl who is playing with us this year. So just talk a little bit about why you decided to come out and join us.
I decided to play football because I was motivated by my taekwondo instructor, a lot of family friends, and just knowing that I could try something new and have the guts to do something not a lot of girls can do. And doing something like this kind of is scary for one another, but it's not really.
Yeah, and we've sort of noticed through the first 4 games of the year that you're not very scared of anything, really. You sort of take things head on and don't really get intimidated by many things. So, like I said, obviously you're the only girl to play on the team, and you mentioned about that girls often are a little bit scared to do this sort of thing, play tackle football. I mean, obviously we've got a flag team, so just delve into a little bit about, were you a little bit apprehensive at the start to play, or was it sort of something you wanted to do right from the start that you set your mind out to? Just talk a little bit about the thought process there.
Well, in grade 7, I started off with flag football, and I kind of wanted to take it to the next level. In grade 8, I started thinking, well, I'm going to high school, there's a tackle football team. I'm not too sure about flag football. But when I thought about it, I'm like, I want to do tackle football because my martial arts might help, and tackle football kind of seems fun, watching my brother doing it and wanting to do it.
And it's very admirable to be able to do something that, you know, a lot of guys are scared to do, never mind girls. Did you learn anything from your brother, watching your brother play, or talking to your brother about his games? Did you learn anything from him?
Not to be stupid. Actually, well, the stances, I had a hard time since I'm so small in my gear. It was kind of hard, so he taught me some of the positions and how to really throw the ball or be a teammate in total.
Yeah, and there's a lot to learn for somebody who has played. I mean, flag football is totally different from this in a lot of ways. So being a new kid, just talk about how your teammates have sort of helped you out on the field in learning plays, learning positions, learning where to be on the field. Just, you know, how have your teammates helped in making this a little bit easier for you?
Well, my teammates, when I need help, I'll honestly ask them, like, I'll be like, hey, I don't know this, or I'll be like, I don't understand, can I have help? Or what are we doing if I can't hear what the coach is saying on the side? And they'll just explain to me, and in the easiest way possible, really. And I still don't understand. They'll come to me or talk to me, tell me if I'm doing something wrong, or look, Beth, this is what's going on. You need to do this, and to improve, you can do this. A lot of people have done that.
Yeah, and I think that this school over the years has really been known as a school that is very close-knit with its teams and things, and the teammates are always willing to help each other. But people also have to be willing to learn, and you seem to be somebody who is very willing to ask questions, to learn things. So just talk a little bit about that.
Well, I always like to make sure I'm doing something right. If not, then I feel like I'm in the wrong for everything, because I'm a judgmental girl. So I feel like if I do something wrong, I'm going to mess up the whole game, the whole team. And if I do that, then I'll feel really bad. And I don't want to do that for my team. And just asking questions is better than not knowing and not getting to know the question, because if anything, there's probably going to be another kid, maybe two, asking or wondering the same question.
Yeah, and I mean, not everybody can pick things up as easy as some other people, so it's always important to ask questions. You were talking about earlier Taekwondo and being motivated to do this because of your Taekwondo coach. Is there anything that transitions from Taekwondo over to football, anything that you can use from one to the other?
Well, the self-defense, I know there's one of the moves that we do, and it's to really like get the person down. It's pretty much like tackling, but in that spot, I guess you could say. But it's mostly like the self-defense relates to the running and the pushing and the shoving, all that kinds of stuff. And really, it's just really the same.
Yeah, and there are some very similar things. So talk a little bit about coaches, and how the team has sort of accepted you, because like we talked about, you're the only female on the team, so that's got to be a little bit overwhelming at the start. But we've talked in the past, and you've said to me about how the team has just welcomed you in as one of the guys, you like to say. So just talk a little bit about that.
At first, the guys were really unsure, because they're like, what? There's a girl, I don't know what to say. And it's like, at first, they're not sure, and now it's just like they won't even remember. It's just an exception they've made. It's like family. You accept what you can and do, and you love one another and treat each other equal. And honestly, the team has done a lot for me, like asking me how I like football, or asking me how I'm doing, just out of the kindness of their hearts, and just pushing me to do my best.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that we, as a team, we have a lot of those character guys on the team who really do care about the well-being of everybody on the team, regardless of, anything really, like gender, of course, height, weight, all of that sort of stuff. It's just a real family sort of atmosphere, and it's a really great place to be. So that leads to a question that I think I already know the answer to, but is this the best sports team you've ever played with?
Yeah, I think it's actually the number one, to be honest. I've never really played on a team like this.
And I think I could say the same thing for myself. I think this team is very special. They know that this is the last year of the school, and that whatever we do this year leaves the legacy of this school and this program. And so far it's just been an excellent season. And for you, can you say a little bit about this team as a whole and what it means to you?
This team as a whole, oh my god.
It's a lot, eh?
Yeah, they are great. They're the best male group you'll ever meet, to be honest. That they'll do anything and everything for you if you ask. You just have to be understanding, and you have to know one another, and even then, just knowing them for the first month or two, it's pretty great. I don't know them personally, but I know them well enough to know that they'll do anything for me.
Mm-hmm. And I think we've seen on the field through the first 4 games of the year that this team just never gives up on anything, always battling. I mean, it really is an admirable bunch, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's a lot to ask for, too. We have 17 healthy bodies now, and we don't really get to have a break, really, throughout this whole game. And then there's other teams, they're giant. They have 50 players at least, and then there's us small people just running our hearts out and playing and pretty much winning.
Yeah, I mean, and that game against Eastview, what a heartbreaker that was. I mean, should be 3-1 right now instead of 2-2, but that just goes to show the fortitude of this team. So you were mentioning the fact that you guys don't get many breaks throughout the game, and you're another one of those players before you got injured, unfortunately, but your primary position is cornerback on defense, but you've played some offense before. How was that, and was that a real big learning curve for you, or did you pick it up relatively quickly?
I had to pick it up really quickly. It was kind of hard, to be honest. It was a little difficult because I'm used to defense. I'm used to corner and everything else, and it was just a new subject, and it's like a slap in the face.
Yeah, and I think that sort of leads into the fact that in our game against Eastview, with me being on the sidelines, of course, and not being able to play, you were basically another one of me that day, just because there was not room for you on the field. I know that sounds awful,
no.
but that's sort of the way it was. Just talk a little bit about your mindset when you're over there on the sidelines going, why am I not in this game right now? What have I done to be trapped on this sideline?
Well, I want to think about where the coaches' feet are in right now. I think of their mindset, what's going on, who's playing, what the game is doing, who's doing what they need to do. And I try to fit my feet into their shoes and think what's going on, what is going on through the day. And I had to think through what I did on the day of the Eastview game. Well, I had my nosebleed really badly, so I couldn't play. But watching on sidelines, I got to learn more. So I think it was more of a learning experience than anything.
Yeah, and that's a great way to look at it in a positive light. But I mean, I was over there, and I remember Mr. Jessen coming over to you and saying, this is nothing to do with you. It's just that you're smaller than some of the other guys. It's nothing personal. We just need bigger guys in the game. What did that sort of message mean to you from him?
Well, it kind of made me want to work harder. It made me want to really try to
Growing up, so I remember during that Eastview game, you were on the sidelines most of the game, and Mr. Jessen came over to you and said, look, this is nothing personal. You're just, a little bit smaller than the rest of the guys, and we need bigger guys in the game because that's the point at which the game was close and we needed the biggest guys in the game we could possibly have. What did that message from him mean to you in terms of sort of keeping your spirits up a little bit?
Well, I put my feet in their shoes, try to think. And when I was there, I was thinking, okay, well, this is working right now. The guys are doing what they need to. And then also knowing that I have a nosebleed that could happen again, then also thinking I'm smaller, and it made me want to work harder, and it just made me want to grow just a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that the way it was handled was very mature and very admirable, in the sense that a lot of us pout and cry and whatever when we're not in the game, especially at this level, when, you know, we're not professionals, we just want to get out there and play. So it was very, you know, admirable of you to be able to handle it the way you did. How have you sort of grown from this experience and learned from this experience, not only as a player, but more importantly as a person?
Well, it's made me also come to think on new leagues, like going in other sports, trying different things. Like Taekwondo is one thing. I've tried that, and I'm succeeding in that. Football is a new thing I'm trying to succeed in. I'm gonna try rugby maybe, and I'm gonna try other sports to try to succeed in life.
Yeah, and these are a lot of sports that, like we mentioned earlier, a lot of girls haven't or don't do because they're too scared to get injured and or nervous about the possibility of getting injured. And you seem to just not even worry about that. You seem to just be sort of like, well, if I get hurt, that sucks, but I'm not really going to worry about it until it happens.
Yeah. Well, I'm also a go-getter. If there's a prize at the end, pretty much for me, it's really the prize is to be the best you can be and do what you can. And no matter what other people think, it's what I think, and it's how I feel.
Yeah, and you seem to really feel good on the field and feel good when you're around the team. Did becoming a part of this team sort of ease your transition into high school? I mean, you're coming into this school, you're grade 9, you know this school is closing in a year, and then you're going to be moving again. So how did getting involved this way sort of help you in becoming a part of this central family?
Well, when I first started at Central, I didn't really know anyone at all. I started off lonely, and now that I'm a part of the team, everyone knows me, and it's really great to know that Central has a great team that will support me for who I am, what I do. Even if I'm a girl and they're guys, they supported me through thick and thin, and they're just great. They're a positive group of guys, and I want friends like that, and that's the team to go to if you want friends like that.
Yeah, I think football is really the ultimate team sport. It's very, competitive, but it's also a very great sport in terms of being able to bond with people and meet new people and things like that. So coming up next year, you have another transition to make into another new high school. What will you take from this team and this school in transitioning to wherever you go next year and maybe playing football there as well?
Well, I'm going to take everything I've learned here and try to transition it there, even though we're probably going to be around the schools, and I'm going to be probably hated, but I'm going to get used to it, and I can suck it up because I'm going and I can't stop it.
So we were talking about the legacy earlier. We were talking earlier about the legacy this team has left this school and this city, this community. So what does it mean to you to be a part of the final team, football team in Barrie Central history?
It means a lot. I can't even explain it. It makes me speechless. It's really important because you get to be known as last year, especially the only junior team, and there was no senior, so you're going to be more known.
Yeah, and I think so far we've done an admirable job of leaving the legacy that we wanted to leave. But not only are you important in that you have been a part of this final team, but also you're one of thousands of school alumni over 173 years, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people to have suited up for this team and this program. So what does it mean to you to be a part of that huge group of individuals?
Well, it means a lot to be a part of a huge group of individuals because you're getting to be one of them is kind of big. Everyone knows who they are. Everyone wants to be one, but sometimes don't have the guts to be them. And it takes a lot to just try out and be there every day and play the games.
Yeah, it does. It takes a lot out of you physically and a lot out of you mentally. And that is no different than just 4 days ago against North.
Yeah.
Wow. What an effort that team put out, and what a job to beat a program that this school has not beaten in any level of football in 12 years. Since 2003. I was 6 years old the last time this team won against Barrie North. What does that mean to you to have beaten a school that has been a bitter rival of ours, first of all, for so many years, but also to end such a long losing streak, especially in the way that we did it?
Well, I think that we did this in a perfect way because it's our last year. We're showing what we've got, and we're proving that we're the best no matter what, win or lose. No matter what, winning or losing, we're just putting ourselves out there to do the best that we can, and we're showing Barrie North that we did. And to prove it, we won.
Right. And another interesting aspect of it is that a lot of our players, guess who they'll be playing against or with next year?
Barrie North.
A lot of those kids at North. So they went out there and were basically auditioning for jobs and showing their coaches what we can do. How does that carry forward?
Well, it just shows that Central's got more of a chance to be on a bigger team, and it just means that you're going to have more of a break if you do make that team, and also to really be a part of a bigger team, bigger family, and just new people.
Right, and I think that we are doing a great job of showing everybody around this county what the kids are capable of, and it's just been an amazing ride this year. Now, obviously, the school board is closing down this school, as we've mentioned so many times over the last 13 months. What we have done this year shown the school board, and what do you think their reaction is to what we've been able to do?
That we can really kick butt and that we proved them wrong. We're better than what they expect we are. We're twice the size of what we can do. We've shown them that we can do lots of sports. We can learn in this place and be a family, and they're just tearing it apart, and it's showing that people are hurting from this, and we're playing our hearts out for it, and we still can't even keep it open.
No, and unfortunately, I don't see any changes to it. I mean, regardless of what happens, I think this is our fate, and it's very unfortunate, but it's the fate nonetheless. We've talked a lot about the heart and the determination of this football team. From the first guy to the last guy, we all have heart. And after the game on Thursday, that game really showed how much heart we have. The last two games especially have shown the heart we have. And we came up with a little motto. If you've been following along in the group, so you know what that motto is. Just talk a little bit about that and what it means and how it can sort of bring the team even closer together than we already are.
Well, knowing that we are a family, we treat each other with so much respect, and we all share this one thing we all love, is to play a game of football. And even if we get hurt, or even if we're off the field and having a fight, no matter what happens off the field, all that matters is on the field. And we love to forgive each other, and we just know that everything will be okay. We're still a great team, and even if next year we're at Barrie North or Eastview or Innisdale, we're still a great team, and we're always going to be a family no matter what, injuries or not.
Right, and I think that all of us have been great at maintaining that family sort of ambiance and the way we go about doing things. It seems to me that the way this team has played this year, a lot of our opponents are, scared to play us. I mean, it looked like North was scared at the end of the game. We're about to lose to a team with 18 players on it, and we've got 40. It looks like teams around this county are scared to play this team, not because they're big in size, not because they're big in numbers, but because they're big in heart.
We all have a great big heart no matter what, and I find that we intimidate the other teams just showing our love and affection and our practicing, and we do it well.
We might not have the biggest team in terms of size or in terms of a number of players. We really have big hearts, and that's all it takes to really go about doing things the right way. It's been a very incredible ride, and it's a great one to be a part of, is it not?
Yes, this ride has been a long journey so far, and we're gonna keep going and make it longer.
Yeah, and I think that, we still have another, 3 weeks to a month left of this season, and then that's it. This is the home stretch for our football program, and just what will it be like for you when it does come to an end, when it is over in the middle of November? How will things be different for you?
It's going to be different because we're not all going to be bonding anymore, playing football on the field. It's going to be cold and there's going to be snow. We're not going to be wearing our gear anymore, and even then, it's just, we're not going to be playing the same game. It'll never be the same.
No, it'll be over. Come this time next month, the football program at Barrie Central will be extinct, and it's a very sad thought to think about, but with the way we've handled ourselves this year, what can the players going into Barrie North, going into Innisdale, going into Eastview, teach those kids, even though maybe we're seen as the underdogs? What is it that we can teach those kids going into that school? Those schools?
We can teach those schools that with a big heart you can do anything. You can be a family, you can do whatever you feel is the best.
Yeah, I think that we take this very seriously and have done so all season. So that is going to wrap this up Beth, thank you so much for doing this. I know it was probably a little bit nerve-wracking for you. You know, you haven't done this much before, but you did an excellent job. You were very well spoken, and thanks a lot for joining us.